Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is 8 o'clock. It is a Sunday morning, and you are here. I'm so excited to see you. I am Dr. Helen. I am the proud host of Where You Are, the Accelerated Healing Detox Bootcamp, where we build health one day at a time, as well as the host of the Faith Building Bootcamp, where we build faith one day at a time. We meet every morning at 6 a.m. Central Time for our Faith Building Bootcamp and at 8 a.m. for our Accelerated Healing Detox Bootcamp. So I'm so excited that you are here. It is now day 27. Day 27, guys. Wow, the time is going so quickly, but this is day 27. So I don't know if you're joining us on day 1. I don't know if you're joining us on day 2, or even if you're joining us on day 27. But wherever you're coming from, if it's day 1, welcome. If it's day 2, welcome back. And if it is day 27, look at you, because you are still here, man. We are still working one day at a time to build our health and to make things so much better. We are entering a series called An Ounce of Prevention, An Ounce of Prevention. And we're going to start with things that actually use about an ounce for its deliciousness and its, what do you call it? It's health benefits. So today we're going to talk about cacao in our series of An Ounce of Prevention. And cacao is one of the things that I absolutely love, and I use it on a regular basis. And we're going to talk to you about what it is and tell you a little bit of information about it. And you can use an ounce of it as prevention to put into your diets. But first, let us hear from my favorite husband, John Stoddard. This one is called Anything. Here we go.
How do I get close to you when you seem so far away? What I wouldn't give to talk to you face to face. I have to keep believing that it won't be very long till the day.
John Stoddard, anything. I tell you, we are doing anything now and everything to make sure that our health is top notch. We are going into an ounce of prevention in our day 27 Accelerated Detox Bootcamp. 27. Yay. And so we are just continuing to ask you, as you continue to find these wonderful foods that we've been introducing to some and reintroducing to others, or just sharing with you. We are just trying to give you some really delicious recipes that not only fight disease, but also continue to detox and also continue to just give you the strength that you need, the protein that you need, the antioxidants that you need, all of those things that are fighting inflammation and that are decreasing our risk of disease, in some cases reversing disease, and in other cases making it so much better than you ever thought possible. So when you do those pictures and you're making your different foods, come on, take a picture of it. Send it to us. We'd love to let everybody see what your delicious food looks like. Today, we are starting with black bean soup, and the black bean soup is so delicious. And black beans are just so full of vitamins and nutrients, especially like iron, and it's got the anthocyanidins in it. It's just absolutely amazing. It's got fiber in it. And when we put it together with all of the spices that we're just surrounding it with and infusing it with, you're going to get this burst of flavor in this delicious bean soup. And then we're going to offer a cilantro lime rice and then a chimichurri sauce. And you're going to put your kale or lettuce or tomatoes and cucumbers and olives and avocado and chimichurri sauce on. Man, it is absolutely delicious. So make sure you're paying attention to your schedule for today, for the things that you'll be introducing today. I hope you took your beans out yesterday and soaked them overnight so you can make them today. We talked about that last week. Then that way you can enjoy the delicious flavor of these black beans, the robust flavor of the bowl, and the deliciousness in your health. It is yummy. All right. So be creative, make it look good. And you can put carrots on it. You can do all kinds of stuff. You can just put different vegetables on top. Just be creative and let us see what your creativity looks like, because we all believe that food is our medicine. And so we are letting food be our medicine. We're following the advice of Hippocrates, who made that advice some 400 BC. I mean, like, look how long ago that was. And it still stands true today. Man, you say you don't like black beans, you got to try them this way, man. They're really good. As we go through our disclaimer, we are going to go with this information being for educational purposes only. I am a board certified physician. I've been practicing medicine for more than 28 years. I was one of the one of two students that were accepted each year. I was kind of crazy. I did 2 residencies at one time in internal medicine and another one in physical medicine and rehabilitation. It was very difficult, but it was doable by God's grace. Hallelujah. My goodness, it was something else, but we did it. And then we did an additional training in my fellowship in sports medicine and non-surgical orthopedics, and then additional training in interventional pain, and then lifestyle medicine. So I have seen the gamut. I've seen both sides of it. I've seen traditional medicine, and I've seen what food can do for you. And so I use the combination of those two and my experience as a physician to bring to you information that I believe will be super helpful to decrease inflammation, prevent disease, reverse some diseases, and lower your blood pressure and lower your blood sugar levels, because this is very powerful. And because it's so powerful at doing these things and decreasing the inflammation, if you're on any medications, it is important to make sure you're in contact with your doctor to make sure that if there needs to be any alterations in your medications, that is done. If the medication needs to be lowered, then it needs to be done. If the medication needs to be discontinued, then it can be done. So make sure you recognize that this does not replace the sound advice of your primary care provider as we continue to move on. And we're going to talk about what we're learning today on our first Ounce of Prevention series, on where this particular one cacao comes from, its nutrient profile, the powder and nibs, and then we're going to talk about the health benefits, the caffeine levels, and then we're going to compare that to like cocoa powder to cacao powder. So let's get right into it as we talk about cacao. What you're seeing on the screen are cacao nibs, and this is kind of the raw version of the cocoa nut that actually comes from these plants that grow in the Amazon, and they come as these kind of nuts. And the name of it, the scientific name of it, is called Theobroma cacao, which translates for them into the food of the gods. It's actually grown in the Amazon, and it's what the ancient Mayans and the Aztecs used to use as medicine. Now it's grown like in tropical regions all over the world. The bean has like a really deep flavor and a deep texture, and then there's a process that it goes through fermentation, and then it's processed into either cacao or cocoa powder. And the you will notice that the cacao powder actually, or the cacao itself, and you'll see the nibs there actually have a slightly bitter taste than its company cocoa or even chocolate, because there's much more processing that goes on in there, and then more fat is added and more sugar is added and all of those kinds of things. This one you'll get without all of that, so it's a slightly bitter taste, but it's extremely high in antioxidants and minerals like selenium and magnesium and chromium and manganese and potassium, and it's full of fiber. It's actually the fruit in its raw form before it's ever processed. And so then you get this powder, which is made from the raw cacao beans and the nibs that are fermented and then roasted and then milled into a powder. They are processed at a very, very low temperature to maintain its antioxidant capacity. That's different than when you get into cacao, because the antioxidants actually get used up and consumed when the temperatures become elevated. So it keeps more of the cacao beans' original nutritional value when we use the cacao. It is full of antioxidants that fight whatever that is. Oh my goodness, inflammation. Baking actually destroys some of the antioxidants. The other thing that's really good about cacao is that it has tryptophan in it, and tryptophan is used to help with the serotonin. The serotonin is the feel-good hormone that's in your gut and that communicates with your brain. So it has the precursor of that serotonin that speaks to your brain that says, "I feel good, I'm calm, I'm not depressed." It actually has it in the cacao. It's also protective for the heart to help decrease your risk of having a heart attack. It fights cancer, and it's very good at, it has a lot of iron in it that actually makes this iron more bioavailable to your systems. And so I really like the fact that it actually improves blood flow to the brain and to the heart. It lowers your blood pressure, and the cacao powder is packed with these flavonoids, which have been shown to help to lower the blood pressure, improve the blood flow, and it also helps to prevent blood clots. Studies have linked the flavonoids in cacao and cocoa powder to higher levels of nitric oxide in the blood. And that nitric oxide is what helps to relax your arteries and the blood vessels, and it keeps the blood flowing better. That is imperative to heart health and to brain health, and actually to any other organ in the body, because circulation is the key. When you have good circulation, all of your organs, your skin, your teeth, your heart, your lungs, all of it gets the benefit of the nutrients that are carried in the bloodstream, along with the oxygen and the cells that help to fight infections and to fight disease and to fight inflammation. It's all in there. And that nitric oxide just opens up those blood vessels so you have a good flow of all the material your body needs to stay healthy. We're thinking an ounce of prevention. So cacao has also been shown to lower the bad cholesterol, the LDL cholesterol, and reduce inflammation, both of which may lower your chance of having a heart attack or a stroke. It also helps to lower blood sugar levels. So it reduces your risk of diabetes. The antioxidants in cacao and cocoa may affect how your body responds to insulin, which could lower your chance of diabetes. Research shows that the flavonoids in the cacao may also improve your insulin resistance or change the way your body metabolizes glucose if you already have diabetes or prediabetes. And 80% of the people that have prediabetes don't even know they have it. So it is really important to make sure that we use an ounce of prevention to try to prevent having to use a pound of cure later. It also reduces inflammation. Some research studies suggest that it may reduce inflammation. And, obviously there's more research that needs to be done, but I have seen it work really well for people with chronic inflammatory conditions. And the research just is lagging behind it. So it'll come up to it when somebody decides they want to do the research on that. But nobody really makes money off of it because it's a natural substance. So there's not a lot of research going on about it. Okay. It can also improve your mood. And cacao has several chemical compounds that will give you a boost, including the flavonoids, the caffeine. There's a small amount of caffeine in it that boosts your clarity, the serotonin, and the precursor of the serotonin, which is the tryptophan. And a survey of more than 13,000 people in the US found that even eating dark chocolate, which is actually even more processed than cacao, will have some of the same compounds of the cacao. That it does have some of the same compounds as the cacao, but that made them they were less likely to have symptoms of depression, right? They had less symptoms of depression. So more research is going to be done on that as well. But let's look at what it does within the brain to improve brain function. A specific flavonoid in the cacao called epicatechin may help with some parts of your brain to keep it healthy, including increasing cognition and increasing the blood flow, which may lower your risk of having dementia. But we're going to do more research about it. But we're seeing so many people that have dementia now, and these are the baby boomers that we're seeing now that have all of this dementia going on. I don't know if it was because we didn't know about toxins then, and the toxins have gotten into their brain, and the aluminum foil that we weren't sure we didn't know had that effect of causing neurofibrillary tangles, or if it was because they did so much drugs in the 60s and so much weed and so much opiates, so many opiates that it's also gotten into their brain. But much more people are having dementia. We're also seeing more people that we don't know if it's because they've been exposed to mold and the mold has never been removed from their system. And so I'm seeing patients right now that have problems with mold and with Parkinson's disease, and I test them and I see that they have mold in their system, and so I go through a regimen to decrease the mold and their cognition gets better. It's absolutely amazing. Maybe that's why we're seeing so much more dementia, because we weren't aware of all the toxins back then that can actually graduate and develop into this loss of cognition and a loss of memory that leads to dementia. Incidentally, mold can also cause some forms of cancer. And so we want to make sure we get to these things, and we're trying to get rid of these things to detox them and to get them out of our system so that we have better brain health. Now, if you're an athlete, this is going to be for you because it enhances performance. Cacao's flavonoids may boost your physical performance by influencing how your body uses nitric oxide. There we go with nitric oxide again, because it's increasing the blood flow to every part of your body, including the muscles. And the muscles are going to need the sugar that's in that blood flow. It needs the oxygen that's in that blood flow to feed those muscles so they feel like they want to do something. It gives it the energy. And so the study actually showed, even though it was a small study, that cyclists who ate dark chocolate used less oxygen and recovered easier than cyclists who didn't. But larger studies are going to be done probably, but it certainly are needed. We're going to talk about the caffeine content and it just show you some kind of comparisons. While there are benefits of eating cacao, there are risks of eating more chocolate, because you will see that there is more caffeine in these foods too. But let's compare the caffeine content of cacao and the caffeine content of a cup of coffee. Well, first let's go with comparing cacao with, say, dark chocolate or with milk chocolate. The amount of caffeine in cacao is about 12 milligrams per tablespoon, right? So that's not a whole lot. That's about that is a small amount. But if you compare that to dark chocolate and milk chocolate, there's like 20 to 60 milligrams in it every ounce that you use. White chocolate is a little bit lower in its caffeine content. It has 2 milligrams, but it has a lot more fat and a lot more sugar. Cacao doesn't have that. You're adding a bit of sugar to cocoa. So that's kind of the difference, a little bit more fat, a little more sugar in the cocoa. So those are the differences, but there's still, cocoa is actually more healthy than actually the more processed versions of chocolate. So it is still more nutritious because it's less processed than the chocolate, but it is more processed than cacao. So you are seeing a big difference. And if we were to compare the caffeine content of cacao to the caffeine content of coffee, the difference is huge. The caffeine content in the cacao is in the cocoa is about 12 milligrams, but in a cup of coffee, it's about 95 milligrams. So you won't see that you'll get like that really burst like you would get with coffee and then the drop. It'll give you more steady states of energy than you will get when you do a cup of coffee. So how do you use this powder? I use it in my smoothies, and I promise I'm going to give you this delicious chocolate mousse recipe. I hope you have signed in or joined our Facebook group. If we can put that up again, if you can join our Facebook group, we're going to post the recipe in the Facebook group so we can make sure everybody gets it. So you just post into the Facebook group. There are questions that you'll need to ask, and then we'll be able to bring you into the Facebook group so you can get this absolutely delicious and healthful recipe of chocolate mousse. I also use this I use this cacao as a chocolate replacer in, like, I made during our raw period. I was experimenting on recipes that I'm going to share next year in our detox, where I took a banana, and it was a ripe banana, and I put it in my high-speed blender, blended it up, put a little vanilla extract in it, and then I put it on a sheet for my dehydrator. And then I took another banana and I put in a teaspoon of cacao, and then I put in a tablespoon of almonds, and I mixed that up in, well, not a tablespoon, I put of almond butter. I had made butter, put in almond butter in the blender and mixed it up, and it came out chocolate. Then I took that and mixed it in with the regular colored banana. Oh, I put a little bit of vanilla extract in it too. And then I mixed that and marbleized it in with the banana. I put it in the dehydrator, and it came out like a taffy. Man, I'm going to post that picture in the Facebook group so that you can see it. I should have posted it here, but I wasn't planning to tell you about it. So I'll put that in the Facebook group so you can see what it looked like. It was so delicious. And it was just like, if you have like a craving where you want something sweet, but you still want to be healthy, you can just use the banana chocolate taffy. Oh, and I also chopped up some nuts in it. So I think I chopped up almonds in it. So you got like this almond brittle kind of thing. It was really, really good. But you can use this cacao for so many different applications. I put it, if I want to make a chocolate cake, I'll put the cacao in the chocolate cake, because I'm trying to get the version of it that is the most nutritiously dense. And so I'm going to use the cacao instead of the cocoa. I don't want the fat. I don't want the sugar. I'm using the pure version of it, that cacao. So it is really delicious, and you are going to absolutely enjoy it. So I'll just post the picture and the recipe in our Facebook group. So I'm writing that down so I can remember. So if you have any questions, you can put it in the chat. Put in a Q and a colon, a Q and a colon. And we'll be able to answer those questions for you. Make sure you have the right format so we can pick them out easily for you. Now, are black beans just as good, like Hoppin' John? I love black eyed peas. I'm sorry. I love black eyed peas, and black eyed peas are very nutritious. They are, if you choose to use black eyed peas because you have an aversion to black beans, then have at it. You are so welcome to do that. The black beans do a little bit of something different because you can use them in like Mexican applications and more African applications and things like that. But black eyed peas, you can certainly season them the same way. That's you being creative. Remember, I said be creative. So you can season the black eyed peas kind of the same way and then put them in your bowl. And you tell us how it turned out. I would love to hear it. So yes, you can absolutely use black eyed peas. Um, Bridget says, let's see. Bridget says, I made a pot of black beans sometime in the past, and the sight and taste still stay in my mind. They were so delicious. Yes, black beans are absolutely delicious. And I don't know what it is that you don't like about the black beans. Perhaps it was the way they were seasoned. I'm not sure, but you can try this recipe and see what you think. And if it is not your thing, please give it to me. That I would be happy to eat them. Alvis says, my grandfather was a farmer and grew cocoa on his farm in Trinidad. Wow. I love eating the pods from the raw fruit when I was little. And don't you miss it? Oh my goodness. That is so awesome. Like things like that seem so foreign to us because we don't have a cacao tree growing in our backyard because we're not in a tropical region. But man, to be able to just eat the fruit off the tree like is absolutely amazing. I have been eating very clean the last 2 weeks. It is expensive, but I am looking forward to the benefits and my soon coming Vitamix for homemade dressings. You better do your thing, Billy. Look at you. It like we said before, you're going to pay one way or the other. You're going to pay to be healthy or you're going to pay because you're sick. And so I just prefer to use my dollars on the preventive side as opposed to the disease side because, right, what we are doing is we are saying we are using an ounce of prevention for the pound of cure. So that is what we wanted to talk about with you today. And in the chat, you will see the Facebook link. Make sure you link in to the Facebook so that we can give you the picture of the chocolate. I don't even know what to call it. Like, do I call it like a chocolate chocolate banana taffy or whatever? But it is absolutely delicious. I got one of my first dehydrator I got from Costco, and it was it was probably $99 or something like that. The one that I have now is kind of, I still have the $99 one. It still works, but I upgraded it to I think I have a Sedona dehydrator. So I just used the Sedona because it fit more of what I wanted to do with it. And I can use both dehydrators at the same time. I can use one to make like if I want to dehydrate some tofu to make some bacon flavored, I can put it in one and it's savory in one and sweet in the other so that I can have two different ones. That's not absolutely necessary. I can perfectly do them in the same one, but since I have it, I can do that way. And that way I can make more of what I would need. Absolutely delicious. So your dollars have wings. Very funny. It's so interesting to be able to eat this way. So guys, we are at the end of day 27. I sure hope this information has been super, super helpful for you at the end of our day 27. Tomorrow, we're going to investigate the use of a sea vegetable called spirulina. And I'm going to save that for Tuesday. We're actually going to talk about moringa tomorrow. We're going to talk about moringa, which is another fruit that helps with our health because we are looking at an ounce of prevention because it is worth a pound of cure. So thank you for joining. Oh, question, does bacon flavor smell like bacon? Yeah, so the recipe that I use is like I put in all the flavors that are reminiscent of the bacon that I remember. And I am not telling you by any means that it is bacon, but it certainly gives you the feeling of bacon and it satisfies my taste for bacon. And I can use different applications. I I can use rice paper. It makes it very, very crispy. I can use banana. Interesting. Banana peel. I can use carrot, which is an absolutely wonderful one. I can use tofu, different applications to put the same kind of seasonings in, and I put it in my dehydrator, and I make it smell like the kitchen smells like bacon when I am finished with it. So I can definitely share that recipe with you at a point down the road, but it's good. So enjoy that, guys. So day 27, and meet us again tomorrow for our Faith Building Bootcamp at 6 a.m. Central Time. Central Time, that is where we build faith one day at a time. And again at 8 a.m. tomorrow Central Time, where we'll continue with our Accelerated Healing Detox Bootcamp, where we will build our health one day at a time. Our book for reversing type 2 diabetes is available, and it is available on Amazon. And our book, the companion journal, is also available on Amazon, where we help with our kind of a journal to kind of help you kind of go through each stage of reversing type 2 diabetes and high blood pressure and even heart disease and things of that nature. I would give you the resource, if you know someone who has heart disease. A resource that I would suggest for you is a book called How to it's Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease by Caldwell Estelson. Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease, a very good book on the whole idea of reversing heart disease. And lastly, we have our Power Pack that is available at www.p2whealth.com. So thank you guys so much for joining us as we share with you an ounce of prevention being worth a pound of cure, because we believe that health is the new currency. Together we believe that, and we are spending our new currency wisely. Thank you so much for joining us. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.